From a bevy of awards to an insane final stat line, here's why Giannis Antetokounmpo is feared in the NBA.
He did 20-plus minutes against Charlotte the other night, so...
Yeah, Wesley Matthews picked the pocket. Giannis has some choices. He wants himself! Why not? When you can do that!
Giannis is considered one of the best power forwards in NBA history and is easily one of, if not the best players active today. The Greek Freak, named for his incredible size, skill, strength, and speed, led the Milwaukee Bucks to their first NBA championship after a 50-year drought. First of all is the fact that Giannis is one of the most highly decorated players in NBA history, being one of only 3 players to win the Most Valuable Player twice before turning 26, the others being Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and LeBron James. In fact, Giannis did this consecutively in 2019 and 2020. In the 2020 season, he was also named Best Defensive Player, becoming the 3rd player to earn that in the same year as the MVP.
It's made for a very special moment and for us to recognize him as the Defensive Player of the Year. So, Brooke, give him the award.
After Michael Jordan and Hakeem Olajuwon. So that alone should give you an idea of just how good this guy is, and why every opposing player knows that you cannot afford to underestimate him. Giannis is the best player in the league. He has been for 5 years now minimum. The 2 years that he won the MVP back-to-back, along with the Finals MVP and his first ring, and then he improved in the next 2 years before kind of maxing out this season. That isn't to say that Giannis won't improve more than he already has. In fact, I'd argue that he's just about getting started. Don't believe me? Just look at his age. Like, the man's only 28. If we're being completely honest here, Giannis has just entered his peak years. Basing this off of other world-class seasons that we've seen in the NBA, and the way the other greats followed their career trajectories, it's safe to say that Giannis will be a dominant figure in the NBA for another 3 or 4 years at least. But he's also following a similar regimen in terms of his health and well-being as LeBron. He may not have the same luck with injuries, but there's a great chance that the Greek Freak won't regress in his 30s, similar to the King. And in case that's what happens, then it's not a surprise that most of the players in the NBA fear him. He's been dominating the league for 5 years now, and this means he's gonna take over for another 4 or 5 more to come.
Yeah, they have to get back to this game defensively right now.
4 off to Giannis, who is re-entered. He looks to go baseline, puts it up and in, draws a foul, and Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Statistics and voter fatigue contribute to other players getting their hands on accolades, but players know that when they have to play a Giannis, be it home or away, it's gonna be a tough job, because he's not just good at offense or defense, he's a two-way beast. Giannis' size and length allow him to protect the rim defensively with ease. No matter which player is coming up against him, they can't find a way of scoring consistently if he's defending. The smaller players almost never have a chance of getting anything from their exchanges against Giannis, but even the bigger players tend to struggle. Look at the way he dominated LeBron. Now, I know what most LeBron fans are going to say. He's 38! Well, that's true, but even LeBron is still a threat on the court. Yet, Giannis was able to shut him out, leaving LeBron without a consistent pathway to score. The likes of Luka Doncic, Joel Embiid, and Nikola Jokic also need to alter the way their team operates, because it's very difficult to find success against Giannis in the paint. But even on the other end of the court, Giannis is a total monster. Not only is he able to attack the rim with ferocity, but he also has that finesse and soft touch. This skill level, along with his insane physicality, almost makes him unstoppable. This is down to the 2-time MVP's best work ethic in the league, and it's not even close. Think almost Kobe, but more powerful. A quick look at what Giannis looked like in 2013 will tell you all you need to know about how far he's come in the decade he spent in the NBA. He spent a lot of time in the gym, honing his body, becoming a physical powerhouse. Even after winning the MVP, Giannis didn't stop in his bid to get better. He wanted to get his hands on the ultimate prize, the NBA championship, and that's exactly what he did a year later.
And that'll do it. It's over. The Bucks have done it. The long wait has ended after a half-century The Milwaukee Bucks are NBA champions once again.
Yet after doing all there is to do in the biggest basketball league in the world, he isn't even remotely done. This mentality to keep on improving is something that truly sets him apart from the rest, and his extremely impressive individual campaign from this season tells you all you need to know about how extraordinarily great he is. Like I said, he hasn't reached his full potential yet, so expect a lot more of a Giannis Antetokounmpo in the coming years. And that, folks, is why players are terrified of him. In fact, a recent vote showed just how much he's rated in the entire league. More than 52% of players voted that the Greek Freak was the best player to build around. That is praise of the highest order. Think about it. More than half of the NBA players believe that if you're willing to build a team from scratch, the cornerstone of your team has to be a Giannis. Why wouldn't they vote for him? After all, he's a two-time MVP, a Finals MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, 7-time All-Star, and a member of the league's 75th anniversary team. At only 28, no wonder every player wants to play with him, because this isn't someone you'd want to play against. In a Giannis, you have a player who has a special ability, an ability that very few players in history have had. The fact that he can take over games and win them on his own. How many active players can you name who can do that? LeBron James, the MVP candidates Kevin Durant, Luka Doncic, Steph Curry, right? Maybe a couple more like Kawhi Leonard and Jimmy Butler. That's a handful of players. Now, how many of those can dominate proceedings on a consistent basis against each other? The list gets shorter. And who would you pick in the current season to dominate just about any of these players? I know my answer, and it's a popular one as well. Giannis, for instance. Look at what he did in the NBA Finals in 2021. I haven't seen many more dominant performances from a Finals MVP than the one he produced. Against one of the best teams that season, the super team of the Phoenix Suns. 35.2 points per game, 13.2 rebounds, over 5 dimes as well. And yet, he wasn't even at his best. The man wasn't expected to play after hyperextending his left knee in the conference finals. Still, he showed up and became the youngest Finals MVP since Kawhi back in 2014. So, is it really a surprise when other players in the NBA are sick of the sight of him? Probably not, because there just aren't any chinks in his armor. In NBA history, only one player has ever averaged more than 29 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists, and a block. Giannis has done that twice. This season, he averaged over 31 points, nearly 12 rebounds, nearly 6 assists, and almost a block. Clearly, he can do everything that his team needs him to do. In the last 2 seasons, Giannis has been working on improving his scoring numbers. He's managed to average 29.9, so for the sake of the argument, let's round that to 30, and 31 in the last 2 seasons. All this while being nearly an ever-present force for the Bucks. You can try to double-team him, he still finds a way. You can try and score consistently on the other end, and I wish you good luck, because he's an insane defender. The only thing that's keeping the Greek Freak from getting the all-time great shouts is the number of rings, and the hunger he has to constantly improve. I wouldn't be surprised if he ends his career with at least 3 or 4 of those rings. So, there you have it. From an insane final stat line to his bevy of awards, these were all the reasons why Giannis Antetokounmpo is feared in the NBA.